where Will County comes to talk. The Kevin Kollins Show on 1340 WJOL.
This is what you need. 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 Give you what you need.
5:10, it's the Kevin Kollins Show on 1340 WJOL. We do it every afternoon about this time. What you need to know, some of the stories from the day, from the weekend, from the past, and we get caught up on it. Evan, what do we need to know?
Kevin, we've got a lot to get to, so let's get moving. A bank robbery in Joliet earlier today. It was at 11:45 that the First Midwest Bank in Joliet at 2801 Jefferson Street was robbed. There were no injuries during the robbery. It's unknown if the suspect was armed, and there is no word on a description yet of the suspect. Once we get that, we'll obviously pass that along. But a bank robbery in Joliet.
Yeah, spoke with Chief Brent Benton from Joliet PD earlier today. The FBI is taking the lead on this. Again, there's not a lot of details right now. We're anticipating after surveillance and everything is looked at that we will hopefully get from the FBI a idea of what the person looks like and a description and if there was any weapon involved, but apparently no one hurt. And the good news is that no one was hurt, and hopefully we'll get a little more information on that as the day moves on tomorrow.
Mundelein Mayor Steve Lentz on Monday defended a widely criticized comment he made about the legalization of gay marriage as well as other societal issues during an Independence Day speech. In his remarks Saturday morning at the Village's Fort Hill Heritage Center, Lentz said the Supreme Court's ruling on marriage equality is one more event in an ongoing moral crisis in the country. He also went on to address people having children without being married, saying out-of-wedlock birth rate is just crazy, high compared to our history. Such parents are a big part of the crisis against the family in the United States. He went on to defend prohibition, saying it's just what the doctor ordered. Our country needed to sober up. Mundelein residents and social media users have blasted the Mundelein mayor in recent days, calling the remarks offensive. Some have even asked for him to resign.
Wow. And I don't know what kind of, this was an Independence Day speech, so I assume this was at getting ready for the parade or something, would be my assumption on something like this. I mean, that's the last thing I want to hear. When I go to something like that, I really, listen, I know you're political, you're the mayor, but I don't want to hear about, the scolding and the lectures. I want to tell you about, boom, here we are to celebrate this country and have a good time and really celebrate. And I don't want to hear about how horrible the country is now. And I got to tell you, if that were my mayor, I'd be honestly, I don't say this a lot, but I'd be like, you know what? No place for that. And I think they might have a little luck there pushing him towards the edge of stepping aside. Do you know how long he's been the mayor up there? Is he a new guy? I think he's actually been in place. If I remember, he's been in place up there for some time now, and he's not new to the seat.
How long he's been there, but he was asked by the Daily Herald earlier today if he wanted to clarify some of his remarks.
Oh, good. So he'll be able to fix it.
He declined. He said, I only ask that people listen to the speech online. He actually posted the entire speech he put online. He also would not comment about people calling for his resignation. Multiple members of the board, trustees in the city of Mundelein, have said that he has the right to express his opinions, but that was an Independence Day speech. There was no place for it there.
Yeah.
If he wanted to hold an event and make those remarks,
sure,
that's well within his right.
Sure.
That was not the place to make it. In fact, there were people actually at the parade, which took place the next day, who turned their back to him as he passed as a result of the ongoing controversy. It's a big deal up there, and this is just the latest in a long line of controversies that has taken place in Mundelein. A trustee last month was spotlighted in a DUI arrest and revelations about his criminal history, and then a village board removed a planning and zoning commissioner after he made critical comments about village staffers. The mayor was the one who led to the firing of the zoning commissioner.
All right, well, this isn't going to go anytime soon. Up in Mundelein, a little political activity and action up there.
Bill Cosby testified in 2005 that he got Quaaludes with the intent of giving them to young women he wanted to have sex with, and he admitted giving the sedative to at least one woman and, quote, other people, according to documents obtained by the Associated Press on Monday. The AP had gone to court to compel the release of the documents. Cosby's lawyers had objected on the grounds that it would embarrass their client. The 77-year-old comedian was testifying under oath in a lawsuit filed by a former Temple University employee. He testified he gave her 3.5 pills levels of Benadryl. Cosby settled the sexual abuse lawsuit for undisclosed terms in 2006. He's been accused by more than 24 women of sexual misconduct, including allegations by many that he drugged and raped them in incidents dating back more than 4 decades.
God forbid your client, who is facing serious allegations of illegal activities, that his alleged illegal activity may embarrass him. That would be a travesty if he was embarrassed. If what he allegedly did happened and drugged and raped women, if that happened, oh man, I feel so sorry for him if that embarrasses him. What a joke! Yeah. So this just came out. So this is we haven't heard anything from Bill Cosby. He has not said anything on this. Has not really denied it. Has not said yes, no. And now it looks like these documents coming out. There might be some truth possibly to some of these allegations.
White House spokesman Josh Earnest says the Greek debt crisis is Europe's challenge to solve.
The European nations who are in the Eurozone have indicated that they would like for Greece to remain part of the Eurozone. Achieving that goal will require a package of financing and reforms that will put Greece back on the path of economic growth.
Earnest told a briefing that Greece and Europe should work out a compromise on the Greek debt crisis, allowing Greece to remain in the Eurozone. Over the weekend, Greek voters rejected a referendum that would have implemented austerity measures in exchange for a bailout. President Obama recently said the Greek debt crisis should not have an impact on the U.S. financial system.
Now, the thing is here that it needs to be clear that some people are a little bit confused on. This is not the Greek people, for the most part, what they're voting on. Most of the Greek people aren't saying, we're looking to walk away from this debt. They don't agree with the current terms that Germany wants this debt settled. In other words, they're saying, if we do this, we will not survive. If we voted yes on this, that is a sure thing of the death of Greece. We would be more willing then to, unfortunately, walk away from it and survive than actually agreeing to this. They're looking for a different debt settlement agreement. Now that ball is back in the rest of the European Union's hands and Germany's hands to say, all right, is there a better deal that you can give them? Or are they just going to say, you know what? That's it. That's the final offer. You're done. We're kicking you out of the European Union.
And you corrected yourself correctly there, because you originally said this is Europe's measure to solve. No, it's Germany's measure to solve.
Germany, correct.
They're the economic power inside
right.
the Eurozone. They're the ones calling the shots on these austerity measures. One of the things people aren't talking about is the fact that these austerity measures that would be put into place for this bailout package, this has to do with Greece failing to pay back their Eurozone creditors. The problem is the forecast models Germany and the Euro banks used to give the bailout said, well, on this date, you should be able to pay us back this much. Their forecast models were completely off, not even remotely close, and they refused to take any fault in that, saying, well, you agreed to the terms. We only set up the forecast model for the payback. And Greece is saying, listen, we're willing to pay you back. It's just on the timeline you have us on, it's not doable. It's not feasible for us to be able to do this and still keep essential services functioning. And Germany has pretty much said, well, that's your problem to figure out.
You know, speaking of Germany and how they really control the European Union now, the interesting thing is when I did my Great Germany trek that I've talked about many times on this show, it was in 2001, October of 2001. Germany accepted the euro as their currency in January of 2002, so just 3 months later. And when we were over there, it was all the talk. And almost to a T, everyone that I spoke to did not want to go away from the mark. And I guess it'd be a little bit of us here in America if we came up with an American dollar that was good in Canada and South America, and we converted from our American dollars. We didn't want to leave that. But everybody was against going with the euro as their main form of currency there. And, you know, now they've just, you know, they are the ones that control everything that happens in the European Union. They are the huge financial power in that, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here with Greece as we move forward on this story.
An outburst at a veterans event in Tallahassee, Florida, Kevin. David McAllister with the Sons of Confederate Veterans interrupted a Veterans Hall of Fame event at the Florida Capitol on Monday. He said he's angry Florida Confederates aren't being considered for the memorial.
Confederate veterans served Florida too. Why are they not being put in the Florida Veterans Hall of Fame? Wow. It's a scandal.
Florida Confederates aren't eligible because they didn't technically serve in the United States military.
What do they fail to understand? They started an uprising against their country. They were called rebels for a reason. They were fighting. Now they fought against the country. They tried to overthrow the country and separate from the country. Now they want to be honored as soldiers.
That would be like you or I, Kevin, being at an event in England, in London, at a Veterans Memorial.
Yes.
Where's George Washington?
Come on.
Why isn't George Washington? He was British.
What? He was what a great soldier he was. He kicked your guys' butt. He should be in there. Oh my goodness! I love that story. That's the greatest story ever.
I love how much righteous indignation is in his screaming. He is so angry about this.
I feel like somebody trying to be released from Egypt. Let my people go!
5:20 is the Kevin Kollins Show on 1340 WJOL.